good morning everybody. The title of today's video probably sounds a bit like two different things cut and shoved together, but trust me on this, it's a good way. We do need these two things together. They work really, really well. So our story starts, strap in, with an order of 17 SWG rings from Tom. I've got an 18 SWG bracelet. It's not quite thick enough, but when I went to buy the next size up, which is 16, it was like, they're way too big. And he said, you do know I do a 17 SWG? And I was like, no, I didn't even know 17 SWG existed. But yeah, he's done it. So he's actually had the wire made and cuts 17 SWG rings. Well, what a godsend. So I was like, right, send me one packet of every size. Oh my God, if you can ever afford to do it, it's not expensive anyway, but if you can ever treat yourself, I should say, do it, because it is so exciting. I'll stick a photo in here now, or a video of my drawer that I've now got them all in. Pause for photo. Oh. Honestly, so exciting. So, as I was looking at them, I thought, right, I just need to work out what weaves I can do with, what rings. And I realised it's the perfect time to explain a little bit about AR to you. So that is how they work together. So without further ado, I'm going to finish walking the dogs and then I go home and show you what I'm talking about. So if we take a little look at this chart, I printed out off the internet, supplied by thebeadman.com. Thank you very much to the bead man, the man of beads. If we have a look at this, what it does is it shows us the IDs of the rings going up, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then what that looks like in the different gauges. And notice there's one missing here. It's quite a jump. We really want one in here. And that's where 17 SWG from Tom really comes into its own, right? So that's not on this chart, but with that said. So if you look at the ID, and that's the internal diameter, okay, that is the distance from one inside edge to the other inside edge, and that's your internal diameter. So if you look at these, the ID, let's pick one bigger so you can actually see what we're working at. Let's look at the 7. On the 7, the ID, so the 7 is the ID, so that's 7 millimeters from one edge to that edge, and the same, that edge to that edge. So even though that hole is the same size for every gauge, the ring is so much thicker that if you imagine how many of that size ring you could fit into itself, it'll be loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads, right? If you look at it in the 14 gauge, you're not going to get as many rings of that size through that hole. So that is how understanding AR is important and comes into its own, okay? So this is my JPL3 bracelet I was telling you about, which is currently in 18 SWG. I made a smaller one, that one there, and that one's 20 AWG, right? But that was too small. This one was almost right. If I'd gone up to 16 SWG, it would have been too big. And that is why I was so pleased to discover the 17 SWG. Slightly bigger, but it's tactile and it's lovely. And that's what I wanted. So this bridges that gap between 18 SWG and the 16, which I don't have anyway, and I'm glad I didn't buy. So let's have a look at this photo now, sent to me by Tom over in Tom's Ring Shop. It shows helm weave done in all gauges, including his new 17 SWG, which is the second one from the left. So we've got 16, 17, 18 and 19 SWG, and then the smaller one on the end is 20 AWG. So if we look at the difference between the 18 SWG, which is the one I told you my bracelet is made out of, and then compare that to the 16 SWG, which is the ring that I was going to buy, it's quite a jump. So you can see how why I was so excited to see that Tom has now got a 17 SWG, that's this one, and it just bridges that gap. It's just a really nice size that we're desperate for. So yeah, it's going to make a massive difference. So now you've got that in your head, a little bit on AR. And you don't really have to understand the ins and outs of it. I just want you to understand why it's important, right? So what AR is, aspect ratio. What they do is they divide, I say they, the manufacturers, because they put the AR on the rings for you. It's the internal diameter of the ring that I've been telling you about, divided by the gauge of the ring, right? And that gives you your AR. What that is basically then is a standardized measurement, so you can look at your rings and you can tell what rings you need for what weave just by looking at the AR. Dead simple. For example, now, after I've shown you those rings that we use to make the JPL, so it's the same weave, but it's different ring sizes. And we don't have to spend ages trying to work out which one to use. All we do is we look at the AR. As you can see, these are the 3 that I used for that weave, and you'll find the AR is the same. So the 20 AWG, that's the thinnest one, that's got an AR of 3. The 18 SWG, which is the one that I had and I wasn't 100% happy with, 2.94, near as damn it, that's 3. And I say near as damn it, sometimes weaves are really tetchy and you have to be exact, but that's neither here nor there, to be honest with you. And then this one, the new 17 SWG, again, look, you'll see that's got an AR of 2.91. So more or less the same AR means that the weave will work. So as an example, let's just say we're looking at this weave now online, European 3-in-1, and it says over on the side there, ideal AR of 3.2. So what that tells us is that it doesn't matter what gauge our rings are, as long as it's got an AR of 3.2, it's going to work, okay? And that is the benefit of knowing AR. So, going over to our rings. So I've got 2 different rings, 2 different gauges. I've got 19 SWG and I've got 18 SWG, which is these 2 here. And obviously they look different, but the AR on both is 3.2. So I know that European 3-in-1, I think, what was it? I can't remember now what we were looking at. Anyway, the weave I was just showing you, which has the AR of 3.2, both of those rings will work for that weave, even though they look different. Quite different. Oh, a little bit of magic there for you. So essentially, they have the same aspect ratio. So that ring, the same number of rings will fit into it, as the same number of rings of that one will fit into that one. That's the way that I think about it, right? So that's it. That's AR. That's the way to understand it. That's the way to use it. And yeah, that's it really. So yes, I am now in my car. I just realised I didn't have any cat food. I do these videos. I press record when I know what I can think to say. So now we're in the supermarket. But anyway, now you understand ID and AR. You don't have to worry about what ID your rings are, you know, what gauge they are. You just look at the AR for what the weave requires. And if you've got that AR in any gauge, then the weave will work. And that's all you need. And I just love that. That's magic, isn't it? So I hope that's helped you. The usual drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe to show me your appreciation. And yeah, if I think of anything else helpful, I'll let you know. Bye.